Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hangout with Coach Kerry. Today, I'm really excited because I have an expert interview. So instead of just listening to me, as you do most of the time, you're going to be hearing from an expert who's going to help you with your internal guidance system. So if you're an entrepreneur and you struggle with success, maybe struggle with clarity, you may be challenged a bit on how to really make your business work, then this episode is for you. And you want to listen to every bit of it because we're actually going to give you some practical tips. You're going to actually learn how to use your internal guidance system today on this episode. So if you've not watched one of my episodes before, my name is Kerry Brown and I'm known as Coach Kerry. And I've been a business coach for over 18 years now, coaching people just like you. And I started these episodes about a year and a half ago because I wanted to give you the tips and resources so that you could be successful in your business and no longer struggle, no longer be overwhelmed, and find a lot of joy and pleasure and do the work that you're meant to do in the world. So today, I'm really excited about my guest. I met her at a retreat I was at a couple of weeks ago, learning how to take our products and market them online. And I was sitting next to her and her virtual assistant, and I knew immediately that I wanted to have her on this episode. So let me tell you a little bit about who she is. My guest is Zen Cryar DeBrucke. She is a powerful intuitive with a strong business background, and I think that's a really unique combination. Her clients have reported massive positive changes in their businesses by working with her. And success came to her when she discovered what she calls her internal guidance system. She's a best-selling author of the book, The Smart Soul, and she's a member of what's called the Transformational Leadership Council. And I was pretty impressed with some of the people that were part of this. Not only are there CEOs, leaders, speakers, authors, trainers who are part of this, but also movie producers, Jack Canfield, Stephen Covey, and Marianne Williamson, just to name a few people that she rubs shoulders with. So please help me welcome Zen. Welcome to this episode.
Thank you, Kerry. I'm so excited to be here. It's so funny you say that about meeting me. As soon as you sat down, I felt the same way. I didn't know that you felt that way, but I did too. I was like, I have to get to know this woman.
Yeah.
So great. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So why don't you round out your bio just a little bit more so people can know a little bit more about you and the kind of people you work with and the results that they're getting.
Sure, I'd love to. So my background is actually in technology. Back in 1996, I got out of college and started moving into technology. And within 2 years, I was the CEO of a really well-respected firm that was in digital design. And we grew that firm to a multi-million-dollar company working with Fortune 500 companies doing their intranets inside their firewalls back then. So I've got kind of a systematic brain. And then I combine that now with this intuitive guidance system that I teach entrepreneurs and C-level executives as well as professional business women how to use it. And what it is the success they have is they're able to balance their life out. They're able to find out what's important to do and what's not, drop away the things, just let them go that don't work, that they're not supposed to be doing, and actually move from that hectic, overwhelmed, crazy place of trying to balance family and personal life and career into actually being in a flow, like a synergy, almost like an athlete. It's like living your life as an athlete would on the field, except you're able to do it every day. And so the successes have been enormous and amazing. And there's huge benefits that are byproducts, which we'll talk about more in the show. But I think the combination of understanding running a high-end corporation in a very, very, very high-moving field with the intuition is what's given me kind of an edge in this new realm of the internal guidance system.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So I've written down some questions for you because I think this is the best place for us to start. And I think we're actually going to practice this on the show too. So I'm really excited about this. So I'd like to know more about what you mean when you talk about what is an internal guidance system. Tell us more about that.
Well, what I discovered back in 1993 and developed for myself was that each and every person is born with a factory installed physical sensation providing guidance system. So what it is it's an expansion and a contraction that happen in your body. It happens in the throat, and I know you can't see my hands all the way, but the chest, and then the solar plex area. And what all throughout our days, we're getting like an expansion or a contraction in these areas. It can feel like pressure. It can feel like tension. It has a lump in the throat or a rock in the pit of the stomach. This is how it's been showing up. And we've labeled it stress, anxiety, worry, fear, overwhelm. But really, it's actually information that we're getting from our body that is letting us know that what we're thinking is not taking us where we want to go. It's not taking us where we want to be. So the thing about it is the interesting thing is, how does it know that? I've found that from years of, and this may sound like a very big, bold statement, but from years of working with thousands of individuals, everyone has their own personal soul blueprint, their own destiny. And this divine system, it actually knows how to get you there in the easiest, most powerful way. And so all throughout our days, for our entire life, we've been given information that most of us are ignoring or misreading. And so the internal guidance system is letting you know whether you're on your blueprint or off, and it's physically telling you that through your body.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. And I know that you're going to tell us we can tap into that. So that's pretty exciting. So how did actually you discover it? And then tell us actually a little bit more about how it works, or, maybe show us how it works.
Yeah. So I discovered it. I was given a cassette tape back in 1993 from Abraham Hicks, which is a pretty well-known teacher in some circles. But they talk a lot about law of attraction and different things. And they were talking about your internal guidance system, how you know whether your thoughts are moving you in a direction that's going to be successful or not. And they explained it, and I felt it, and I knew I'd been feeling it my whole life, but then I couldn't find any other information on it anywhere. So I began myself using this system and figuring out how it works, and really like becoming my own little mini scientist and doing my own experiments. And that is what led me actually into the technology field and into the levels of success that I had, as well as moving me out of the failures that occurred from the technology industry in 2001 and 2002. So I knew it was reliable. What happened is when the market crashed and everybody in San Francisco and the Bay Area and around the world in 2001 began to everything fell apart, my friends and colleagues began asking me, what's happening? You're happy and you feel positive and everything, you know what to do, and things seem to be working out okay for you. I used to say, I'm earning my experiential MBA. And they said, either tell us the doctor that's giving you your drugs, or tell us what you're doing. And so I showed them how this system works. They were all, CEOs and marketing directors, and they began using it themselves, and it worked. And over time, they kept sending people to me, and I just naturally transitioned out of technology and into this new work that I do. And it's been a very powerful journey ever since.
Wow.
So thank you. You had said that you wanted to have an experience of it. Does that sound like something you want to try and do now?
Sure. Do you think we need to give people any more background in it at all? I mean, or do you think we just need to do it and then have them experience it?
I would rather do it and have them experience it, if that's okay, because if I give your head too much information, it gets in the way.
Sure. Then let's do it. Yeah, great. You bet. I'm ready. Tell us what we need to do.
Okay. So the first thing to do is just close your eyes and relax. I'm going to give you 2 sentences, and it really helps to close your eyes. Feel the bottom of your feet. Just feel them resting on the floor. Just be relaxed. You may notice that some sensation comes up. And then feel the palms of your hands. Really try to quiet your mind by feeling your hands and feet. Now, I'm going to give you 2 sentences, and I want you to just let them float through your mind like a cloud does through the sky. While you're feeling your hands and feet, it really helps you quiet your mind if you stay feeling your hands and feet. The first sentence is, I do not have an internal guidance system. Feeling your feet and hands cloud through the sky. I do not have an internal guidance system. Notice any sensation between your throat and your solar plexus. Then the next sentence is, I do have an internal guidance system. I do have an internal guidance system, focusing hands and feet floating through the sky. I do have an internal guidance system. Notice any sensation. And then wiggle your toes and open your eyes. Did you notice anything?
I did. Well, when the first was the negative statement, I could feel it in my throat.
Like a tightening?
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you said I do have one, actually my body felt like it tingled a little bit, like it vibrated a little bit. It was very
Yes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yes. So throughout our day, this system, and a lot of people, what they feel is they feel a tightening or pressure on the chest. They can feel like a wilting in their body when they say, I do not have an internal guidance system, a lump in their throat. Some people even get kind of like a contraction feeling. I call that closing. That's so that way people know we all in the same terminology, closing sensation. And then when I say I do have it, people feel like a lightening or a tingling, like they can breathe more. They get more expansion of their breasts. Some people say it's an upward rising V, or they feel more alive. And that is what I call an opening. So there's an opening and a closing, and then there's also a neutral where you're not really feeling anything. And those are the 3 levels of guidance. And they operate like a compass. So if you imagine a compass in your mind, north, south, east, and west. If you pictured north being open, south being closed, and either west or east being neutral, high north is like ecstasy. It's ecstatic. We've all had these, and we're in vision, or we're in love, and we're imagining all the things that we can do in the world, and we're getting all these great ideas. And then due south is as closed as you can get, and that feels like terror, panic. People have panic attacks, severe depression. It's like really closed down state. Well, it operates kind of like a needle. So here's neutral, and we get openings and closings at different gradations throughout our day based on whether our thoughts are in alignment or out of alignment. It's kind of like the hot cold game that you played when you're a kid, right? It's like hotter, hotter, no, cold, 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 warmer, warmer. Your IGS, internal guidance system, IGS, is doing that with you in your thoughts all day, every day, helping you to know which direction to go in. And that's how it works.
Wow. So let's give our the audience here and me as well some real practical experiences how clients have used this. Or how you would recommend they use this in their day, given the fact that we know the majority of the audience watching here are entrepreneurs.
Okay, fantastic. So one of the ways that I work with my clients is having them figure out their priorities and their time management. So what you can do is once you're in touch with this, it actually starts becoming more natural to you. I recommend that you write out what you have to accomplish throughout the day, okay? And you just check in as to whether or not that's something that actually needs to be done. Because we have a lot of things that are in our heads about what we need to be done that don't need to be done, right? So an example would be before I go on vacation, I have a whole list of things I want to get done around the house that don't actually need to be done before I go. They're just stressing me out, right? So it's the same thing with our workday. We have what we'd like to get done, what we have to get done, and stuff that actually we don't have to get done. We don't even know it yet, but it may be canceled, or it may be something that actually nobody's asked for that we've decided to do anyways. So write out everything on your list and then put next to a little line and just determine whether you check in and go, okay, just all you have to do is think of the sentence. I recommend closing your eyes because visual stimulation just really makes our mind interactive, and just hold the thought of that sentence and see whether you feel an expansion or a contraction or a neutral, and put open, closed, or neutral next to it. And you just kind of go through your list. Now, after doing this for a couple of weeks, you don't even have to actually write it down anymore. You'll get so used to using your IGS. It does take some training, but you get used to using your IGS where you just stay in the flow. You feel like, oh, I'm gonna call this person. No, I'm not feeling open to that. I'm not going to call them back just yet. And you'll find that there's this timing, this incredible timing that begins to happen. You'll open to go do something ridiculous, like that doesn't mean anything, we think, like have a cup of coffee at this particular time. We walk into Starbucks and there's the guy that we've been trying to close a sale with for the last 2.5 months, sitting there having coffee, working on his computer. And lo and behold, we get to have a friendly, non-sales conversation with the person. Stuff like that begins to happen in your life on a regular basis. So you get a feeling to go to the post office to drop something off, and you walk in, and all of a sudden 10 people follow in behind you, and you're like, wow, 5 minutes later, and I would have been stuck in this line. So it's very practical and on the ground, even to the point of conversations you're having. You're in the midst of having a conversation and being able to feel whether it's an opening comment that you're going to make or closing in the middle of a meeting, being able to regulate the power of using your words and your ideas in a group of people. So it's got a lot of powerfulness to it.
I can see people even using this in terms of marketing strategies. I'm a huge advocate of creating a strategic plan. It doesn't have to be complex, but we need to have a plan of which we're working on. But to check in when we're doing that work to see, is this really a strategy that I will benefit me, or is it not? Would that be a practical example of how to use it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a fantastic example. Another practical example is learning how to price your goods or your services, or a particular, we use it often, we'll use it with a team at a corporation in a group, looking at how to price a particular product and the different pieces that have to come together for that. And each person has already opened to what it's going to need to accomplish the project on their end financially. Asking for what you're worth. Your IGS is very good at that. It will really push you towards asking for more if you're underserving yourself, or asking less if you're over charging. So that is an excellent way to use it.
So that just struck a piece with me, because quite often when I'm dealing with entrepreneurs, they might have a notion in their head in terms of what they think they should charge. Because they might have some money baggage that they're carrying with them from a scarcity mentality. So they're thinking all of their clients are in the same way. In fact, just this week I had a client who was thinking about, marketing strategies and actually pricing the services that they provide. And we had a conversation about getting caught up in what our notion of the price should be versus what actually the marketplace will pay for. So in that situation, does that internal sort of conversation show up at all? And how do you know how to distinguish between maybe that internal conversation, what has to do with our own perception of price or whatever, or if it's actually our IGS? How do you distinguish between the two?
Okay, that is such a fabulous question. I'm so glad you asked it. So the whole point of this is to get us out of our minds and to show us where our minds are actually off base in its belief system and limitations. So what ends up happening over time is, as you coach and you take the programs or you start using this on your own, is your mind becomes a tool. And so it's not about like, when do you trust your mind and when do you trust your IGS? What happens is you let your mind run, and when the thought comes up that's not true, not in alignment, not going to work for you, your IGS closes. And that's when you go up and you examine the thought. Oh, wow, I just closed. So that means that this thought is not true and it's actually taking me away. So from my happiness. So let's look at what is true. Okay, what could be true in this moment? So I have a great story of a salesperson that'll help, kind of give a little bit of a demonstration. Is it okay if I share it? Okay,
you bet.
Okay, so I had this person that sold HAV systems. They're like big, giant commercial heater and air conditioning units for large skyscrapers. Big, big, big ticket items, right? And he had done a bid for a contractor, and it was in the millions. And the guy did not take the bid, and it came back about 6 months later to reenact the bid. And he said, I have to rebid it. That bid's expired, and everything changes, price of copper, blah, blah, blah. So he rebid it. He had been working with me as one of my clients. He rebid it, and it came out to be about $200,000 more because the price of copper had gone up. So the guy screamed and yelled and told him he was trying to take him for a ride and all of these different things, and hung up on him. And he called me and said, I'm freaked out. I don't know what to do. And I said, well, let's use your IGS. He says, well, every time I go to call the person, I close. And I said, well, then don't call him. And he said, but in the sales industry, you call people back. You try to work it out. These are long-term relationships. And I said, if your IGS is closing, you can go override it, but I'm telling you, it's not a good idea. So this happened about 4 times during the week. The guy would call, he'd see it on the caller ID, wouldn't pick it up because he was closed, and then get this nasty message. Finally, on Friday, the person called back again, and he saw the caller ID, and he thought about answering it. So it started with a thought, I'm thinking about answering it. He opened, so he picked up the phone, and the person said, I'm so sorry. I've gotten 2 other competitive bids. Yours is still the best bid, and I know the quality of your work. The price of copper has gone up. It's not your fault. I've been a jerk. Can you please do business with me? The guy called me up ecstatic because what he had been thinking of doing was cutting his commission by half to be able to make it. But really, truly, these are big, long-term sales. His family couldn't afford it. He couldn't afford to do that just to save the sale for a future possible sale down the road. And so he actually got what he deserved out of that, and he was so grateful. But the pain throughout that week of not calling the person back, knowing that there's a client mad at him, we must have coached about 6 times on just talking him down off the wall and reconfiguring his internal state and his mental thinking towards an opening again. So it is about your IGS working with your mind, and it's an incredible tool to help you get away from the pain and anguish that your mind can cause around a lot of these issues in our relationships, in our career, with our family. I mean, that's the whole crux of what's really going on here.
So it sounds like obviously just what people have learned today isn't is isn't going to cut it. They're going to have to practice this and whatnot. So for those of you listening or watching this, please stay to the end, because Zen's going to give us some ways in which we can get in touch with her. And if you want to find out more, do a little deeper dive into this, because I think it's really exciting stuff. Because, you know, Zen, one of the things that I deal with a lot, because I'm a very practical business coach, I deal with business models, you know, financial structures, all of that kind of stuff, HR and communication. But so often that belief system comes in, and it plays, well, it sabotages the best efforts. And so this sounds like a great tool for people to be able to basically not necessarily do battle with that, but to really, really check those perspectives, those beliefs we have, to see whether in fact they are the truth or whether they're just a reality that we've made up. Would that be an accurate sort of summation?
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, this is really cool. I was working with a couple of neuroscientists while we were trying to figure out what's going on, because the information that you get from your internal guidance system is so accurate, it's kind of odd. I mean, you're like, wow, how does it know this? I'll give you an example of that in a minute. But so it really does help with that. And not only that, what we discovered is that the neural pathways of our brain, one of the ways that they're programmed is through our nervous system. And it seems that what's happening is your internal guidance system is tapped into your nervous system, which is how you get the sensations and how it's related to the brain. When you find a closing body of thought or belief system, and you move into what's opening, what's more true, what's more accurate for you, there's a new neural pathway being born. And the more you hold into the opening thoughts, the more that the old neural pathway begins to die and the new one takes root. And so in using this, you're in real time. It's what we believe is happening. We needed to run more studies and tests on it. But in real time, you're reprogramming your brain in the moment towards the new opening thoughts, which eliminates the limiting beliefs, which eliminates the thoughts that don't work for you very quickly in your life. So it does not take very long to have a new neural pathway built. In fact, PTSD is through your nervous system. So you know how fast someone can have one experience and bam, their life has changed forever, mentally and emotionally through their body. So this is like the same kind of thing. It's like you're naturally cultivating this extraordinary new mindset that is completely linked to your own personal life blueprint. That's the only way we can understand why it gives it, because it gives everybody different information. What a decision for you may be completely different for me. And it's because it's like tuned into this very unique side of our individual experience as a human being. It's pretty exciting and revolutionary, I think.
Yeah, very much so, to be able to say that we actually have the power to be able to change those things and put us in the driver's seat, a driver's seat with using our GPS. So that's great. So tell me, you said it moves us towards a more fulfilling life, sort of spiritually and materially. You know, why are both of those really important? You know, that there's a balance. It isn't just about material things. It isn't just about spiritual, that combination.
Well, we're intended to have the resources that we need. And I don't mean just the bare bones resources that we need in order to flourish in our life's purpose. It's really, to me, it's all about our life's purpose. And not just being one life's purpose, but we have thousands of them, from giving a great book to a friend who needs it and is in a really sad shape, to smiling at a clerk, to doing bigger things. So I believe it's really all about our life's purpose, and we're intended, in order to do that, there are certain resources that we need. There's people, there's material items, and there's money that we need. When you're in deep, you know, financial distress, it's very difficult to even stay focused on your life's purpose and the bigger mission that you have, and paying attention to other people in the world and what you have to do there. We're not intended to be in lack like that, to where we're distracted from who we are as core beings. And it can go the other way, where money can become incredibly distraction because you have so much of it that there's a whole greed and it can be a distraction. So there is a balance there. But each person is intended to have what they need in order to be fulfilled as a human being in this lifetime. And we block that. We are the ones that, through our, what we believe we're worth, or the magic that we think can happen. You know, I have a client who was really wanting to pay off all his bills and couldn't see a way. And I just got a call literally last week, because he kept opening that he's going to be able to pay them off quickly. And he's like, I don't see how. I've got a limited income. He got a $10,000 check in the mail from one of those lawsuits from a bank that had overcharged him on a loan. He filled out the paperwork like 5 years ago, and it came through this week, and he literally paid off all of his bills. So, and that's exactly what his IGS had told him he could do. So there's magic in the world that we miss because our mind keeps us away from believing what's possible, and it limits us. So anyways, back to your question. It is about us having abundance that will fulfill us and our ability to do what we need on the planet. Without that, we're missing the mark. So it's incredibly important for us to move through the limiting beliefs in abundance and to understand what's blocking us and to get them out of the way so we can get our stuff going on with our finances and abundance and get back into playing our mission and not having to be worried about that.
Wow. So I can imagine this we can use this internal guidance system for all aspects of our life. So
yes.
Maybe just give people some other examples as well.
Okay. So I moved into a new office. This is my big story of the week. My IGS, I have hundreds of thousands of them, and so do my friends and my clients, but this is my big one. So I moved into a new office, and I had brought everything over from my old office and some stuff from my house, and I had all of our credit cards, passports, social security numbers, all this stuff in a box, and I went, oh, I don't want that here. I need to take that home. I stuck it in a grocery bag, a plastic grocery bag, and I had 2 boxes by the door. One of them was for trash, and one of them was to be taken home. Well, I brought them both home, and I swore that I had put all those credit cards somewhere in my home. I'm famous for hiding stuff from myself. But anyways, I swore I had them, but I couldn't find them for about 3 weeks. And I kept checking in, and I thought, oh gosh, I hope I didn't stick them in the box that went out to the trash. And I kept closing, but my mind was like, nope, you can't find them. They have to be, all of your important items in your entire life is sitting in a dumpster at a trash pile somewhere. Someone's going to find them. All these things, my mind is going crazy, but I was closed. They weren't true. Lo and behold, 2 days ago, my husband and one of my best gal friends knows this to be important. I pulled open a drawer, and my son had gone through it and pushed it all to the back of the drawer, and I found it. And the whole time I opened that it was in the house, I just couldn't find it. So that's one example from my own life. Another example from my own life is about 3 weeks ago, my husband was organizing the shop that we have. And I went out there to find out if he wanted lunch, and he was doing some particular task. And I went to go tell him how to do it better. I was like, and as soon as I thought of it and went to open my mouth to say something, I closed, really big closing. His back was to me. And I was about to be like, you know what you could do? And I went, oh. I was like, he goes, what? He turns around, and the look on his face, he was very frustrated with something that was going on. And if I had made that statement, it probably would have ruined our whole weekend. But it's an example of, like, in the moment, these little things, what to say to your kids, what to say to your loved ones, how to respond at Christmas dinner, at a family Christmas dinner when everything's going awry, being able to step aside and find out from your IGS what is your stuff from your childhood and what is your sister really being a jerk, about, and how to, like, handle it. Is this something I need to handle now? Is it something I can handle later? One of my favorite questions I teach the students in the courses is to ask, is this any of my business? And see if they open or they close. 90% of what is going on in our mind, even the personal stuff, isn't even any of our business. It's not ours to do. We don't even have to be bothered with it. It's my favorite thing to get a closing to. Is this any of my business? Closed. Right on. I can go back to my life. It'll work itself out. I don't even have to go there. So yeah, I mean, it's so practical and real. It becomes almost like a best friend that's kind of riding around with you, helping you get through your day.
Right, with a lot more wisdom than we seem to have ourselves sometimes.
Exactly.
when it's right in, when it's right straight in front of us. So, yeah, wow, very interesting. So, Zen, any last pieces that you want to say in terms of wrapping this episode up for people? I mean, obviously we've done this on a surface here. After you do that, please do tell them how they can get a hold of you. But any last pieces of wisdom you want to share regarding your internal guidance system and how people can use it?
Yeah, one of the things I'll occasionally get is people are afraid that, like, well, I don't want to turn my life over to something else. I don't want, what is this thing? How do I know I can trust it? And it builds trust as you begin to use it. You've already been using it your whole life. It's just you haven't maybe had the perfect interpretation of it and the way to use it in many different ways. But it's you. It's the deepest part of you, the most wise, knowing part of you, helping you accomplish the things you really want to accomplish in this lifetime. And so the last thing I want to say is that every moment that you're not learning about this part of yourself, you're not unwrapping a gift that was given to you at birth that holds the key to your whole life. You're just letting it sit there on the table and walking past it saying, yeah, maybe some other time. And when you unwrap it, you find things get easier. The common thing I hear is, I'm in the flow. my life just flows. It's easy. It's just effortless if I use my IGS. So I just really want to encourage you, even if you don't, do more work or study with me or get a book that I've written or any of that. I just want to encourage you to just pay more attention to these sensations that you're having. They mean something. They're important. They're really important for you in your life. I can't express it any more than that. And I just want to say thank you for listening. I'm so grateful that I get to even come out and share that this is happening for all of us on the planet as human beings. It's an honor that you've taken the time to listen to this.
Well, thank you. So how can people find out more about what you offer?
Well, I have online courses and books and coaching that I can do with people, and you can find all of it at internalguidancesystem.com. And that's where it links you right to you can get my newsletter. I do a podcast, and I've got all kinds of great little yummy things to help you just dive in and learn more about this in an easy way and take it on any level you want. So internalguidancesystem.com.
Perfect, nice and easy. Well, Zen, thank you so much. You have challenged me to put this into practice more than I might already do. So thank you for that. I'm interested in reading your book and finding out more about this so that I can use it and make my life easier. Because isn't that really the ultimate, that we want our lives to be easier? When we're in business, we want things to flow. We want clients and customers to come our way. We want our marketing strategies to work. We want to have good relationships with the people we work with in business. And we want that all for our personal life as well. So thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching this episode, make sure you go back and check some of my other episodes as well. There's almost 80 of them on the website right now. Go to HangOutWithCoachKerry.com. Kerry spelled Kerry. And while you're there, you can grab a copy of my book as well, How to Get Out of Overwhelm and Accelerate Your Business Now. So thanks again, Zen. I really appreciate it. And, might just have you back again for a refresher on this and maybe even a deeper dive at some point. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the work you do in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd love to come back. You're wonderful.
Thanks.